Take a listen.
I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom.
Kurt, Biden speaking about passing the torch there, and then straight away today we have this new Harris ad using the Beyonce song. It seems almost an understatement to say that her campaign is off and running at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can ask for a better first few days of a campaign. It's the best 4 days I've ever seen in campaign history, honestly, when you look at, more than, $120 million raise, the Democratic Party, which went from demoralized and anticipating defeat to energized, excited, mobilized. There is a palatable energy within the Democratic Party that just didn't exist only a few weeks ago. And so that is a transformational pendulum swing when you talk about an election that's going to be incredibly narrow, incredibly close, that likely is going to hinge on who can get their side to turn out the best. The enthusiasm gap between the Republicans and Democrats at this point has been very, very broad. Harris has successfully, in the span of just a few days, closed that gap. And you can make the case that following the Republican convention, where typically the Republican nominee gets a decent bounce in the polls, she was able to overshadow that convention. And it's a completely different dynamic. And it's even changed Donald Trump. The Donald Trump that we heard at the RNC convention, more subdued, more understated, more in control. Well, just a few days later, he's now back to his old self. He is hurling insults. He is being nasty. As he said yesterday during that rally, he's not going to be nice. That plays right into the hands of Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party.
Yeah, interesting. I want to talk to Malik more about this, because we saw former President Trump out on the trail for the first time since Biden announced he was dropping on Sunday. Malik, let's take a quick listen to that.
So now we have a new victim to defeat. Lion Kamala Harris, Lion, L-Y-I-N apostrophe. The most incompetent and far-left vice president in American history.
Malik, what do you make of this? Is this back to the old Trump? Do you agree with Kurt here that he is playing into the Democrats' hands by going on the attack like this?
Well, in part, I do, but we have to be clear here. The idea that Donald Trump or any politician would not hurl any personal attacks against their opponent, this idea that we were going to be unified, even from Democrats who were talking about unity after the attempted assassination against Donald Trump, that was never going to happen. And we've seen that even from Democrats themselves. Of course, Donald Trump is going to attack Kamala Harris, and I think he should. But also what Donald Trump was painting the picture of Kamala Harris as the San Francisco liberal, the California liberal that she is. We're going to remind people about the policies that she supported, Black Lives Matter policies, defund the police policies, all of these things, and including her time as vice president, that ironically, when she had her rally, she didn't want to talk much about, because she would rather talk about her time as attorney general. Republicans do have to be careful, though, because the goal is to draw Donald Trump in. And if Donald Trump gets in this fight, and it seems as if, not what he means, but if it seems as if that he's being sexist or racist, much like we saw in the race between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, where Hillary Clinton accused the Barack Obama campaign of being sexist, it will happen here, and it will be a very potent issue in this election cycle, race and gender.
Kurt, I see you nodding there, and I want to get your thoughts on what Malik just said. And also, let's talk about the new polling data as well from the Hill and Emerson College, because we are seeing Harris really narrowing the gap with Trump in some of these critical swing states. Kurt, do you think this is a temporary bump with excitement from Sunday, or how does Harris keep this momentum going?
Well, I think that you're going to see Harris steadily rise between now and really through the Democratic convention. She has a couple milestone markers that are going to play in her favor. The announcement of her vice president will give her a bump, and then going into the convention and having the ability to define herself and really introduce herself to the nation as the top of the ticket for the first time over the course of 4 days. That'll be pivotal for Democrats from a messaging standpoint. And again, I think Malik's right. If Trump uses language like stupid, idiot, incompetent, crazy, dangerous, like that is going to read very differently when you're talking about Kamala Harris and when you're talking about Joe Biden. And I think that every woman right now watching knows those words, and they are not going to take that language, I think, in a very positive way. And so Chris Starwalt said last night on NewsNation that is the conundrum Republicans find themselves in. They haven't yet found the right vocabulary to contrast their differences on the issues and on her record while using those type of words and that type of tone. If you're going to go out there and say Kamala Harris is the dumbest, most incompetent, stupid, corrupt, lazy, all these things, that is going to play horribly for Republicans this fall.
Yeah, Kurt, what about the accusation that she's a DEI pick? This is something we're hearing a lot on far-right media right now.
Yeah, there's a reason why Speaker Johnson, Republican Speaker Mike Johnson, pleaded with his colleagues, don't use that language. That is not the path forward to victory for Republicans. You cannot create a dynamic where you are needlessly interjecting potential issues of race and sexism when you're the Republican Party, when you have very fair contrast to make on the issues. Like this race for Republicans can be won if they talk about immigration and the border, if they talk about inflation and the economy, if they talk about the far left record, as they would say, that Harris had as a senator. But if they move this conversation to race, to privilege, to sexism, to tokenism, that is a battlefield they cannot win on.